October 28th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
Over Skype. And this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk about a comic, Pax Romana by the Hickman. Let's do this. That static you hear in the background can only mean one thing. It's Fast Karate for the Geeknights. I have Scott on Skype.
Oh, shit.
I feel like we should clap, but we're not going to do that that double record syncing just yet, since this is kind of off the cuff.
It's also because we have the skills to use the mixer to do the one-side record.
Yeah, but at the same time, it sounds a lot better if you do the two-side record, but I'm lazy, and basically my plan is, I don't want to... We're still, you guys are lucky we're doing shows at all for the next, 2 weeks, because everything's just crazy as we're trying to, shuffle all these houses around, and I got all this other stuff going on, but...
Yeah, moving. People are worried, oh, no, Geeknights will be no more. Well, that's not true, but what is true is that, when people are moving, they're constantly got shit to do that's more important than a podcast they are not paid for, so...
Yeah, well, partly that, too, is I still don't have a car, and Scott won't let me drive his car, even though it's here.
Oh, good. You are not driving the car.
Well, I used it a little. Like I said, I took it grocery shopping once, and that was it.
Okay, good.
Because I needed grocery shopping something fierce. I was out of food, and so was Emily.
Speaking of the car, actually, right? I was going around the internet changing my address at various places. And I changed it at Geico, where I'm supposed to change it.
And they made your insurance go up?
Hold on. They asked me on the internet, are you bringing the car with you? And I said, no. They said, where are you leaving the car? I said, in Beacon. How long? For a couple months. Yep. They said, how come you're not bringing it with you? And I'm like, because there's nowhere to park, and I can take the subway to work. Uh-huh. So then they called me this morning, and they say, so why aren't you bringing the car with you? I'm like, yeah, because there's no parking, and right? So they asked me again why I'm not, and they're like,
so they don't get it. They're like...
Well, no. So then they're like, well, even whether you're bringing the car with you or not, we have to charge you as if you have the car with you, regardless. I'm like, so why did you even ask me? Right? It's like, why ask me whether or not I'm bringing the car with me, or why, if it doesn't matter? I
don't even know. I used to just lie on that stupid thing they made me fill out anyway, because I was like, how far do you drive to work?
Pay money as if the car is in Astoria. Why even bother asking where the car is, or the reasons for the car being where it is? Or
maybe there's some way where they don't have to charge, because they don't have to. They can charge whatever they want. That's just him saying some, we got a
actually a nice lady, but, whatever.
Yeah, but, most likely, if your answer had been like, I'm leaving it in a garage upstate, and I take a train up to take it whenever I go on a road trip, they would have been okay.
That's what I told them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well. At least you can say, you don't use the car to commute, because that cut down on my insurance more than anything.
Yeah, that's true. But no, my insurance
$8 a month of car insurance because my car's worth less than the chair I'm sitting in right now.
Yeah, I think the insurance is now $800 a year, 4 payments of $200-something each.
That's not too bad.
No, before it was 4 payments of $140 each, so it went up by $240 a year.
Oh wow.
We'll see what happens with that. I'm gonna keep the car, and if we'll see how much I actually end up using it. If I don't use it for months on end and don't have desire or need to use it, even though I really like the car and I've wanted to keep it for a long time and I completely own it, if I sell it, I'll get a huge pile of money and I'll be able to just go, don't need to worry about money.
Yep, but then you won't have a car.
But if I'm not using it for months on end, what will it matter?
Yeah, well, then you'll have to do what I was doing for a while, where whenever you want to go on a trip and someone else isn't driving, you got to rent the car and go pick it up in Hoboken.
Or maybe I can, get the Zip car or something.
Zip car is not worth the money. You're better off just renting an individual car every time you need it.
I know, it depends though. If I use the Zip car a lot, or it's you got to calculate. For some people, it's worth it.
Yep.
For some people, it's not.
I don't think I want to buy your car, though. I'm going to buy Scojo's super cheap car, and I'm just going to hold out.
It's a better car for you to buy.
Well, I only need to hold out until I settle the house business, because once all that's settled, I'm just going to buy, a Fit and maybe a Miata, and then I'll be set.
You can buy 2 cars.
Well, Emily's going to get the Fit, and then I'm going to get, a Miata or a Z4
Why does everyone like this Fit car?
It's just it's the same, kind of car as your Mazda 3, except it's smaller. It's a lot smaller, and it's cute and little.
It's also less speedy.
Yeah, but you don't need speed so much.
Yeah, my car's cool.
Not for driving around town. Plus, what I'm thinking about doing seriously is we'll have for a while have like maybe like the dumper car and the nice car. I might just buy like a little Vespa to go around upstate in.
It's not a bad idea.
Because I'm going to the train station and stuff like that. I could just park it with the bikes.
I could get one of those if I was in Manhattan, but I'm in Queens, so that's not. I gotta go.
If you're gonna drive, you got to use a car in Queens.
Yeah, it's not gonna. The thing is, here's the other thing though, right? It's like, oh man, the car. If I get like a raise of like $1,200 a year, I don't think that's gonna happen very soon. I haven't even been there a year yet. I've been there 6 months, right?
That's a pretty standard raise. You should get that.
Yeah, if I eventually get some sort of raise. The parking spot behind my building is only $112 a month. So if after taxes I get a raise of $112 a month.
See, that's the thing.
I'll just buy the parking space.
Living in the city, kind of like, it sucks to have a car if you're not ultra wealthy because you got to deal with it. But if you have the money to just pay to park the car right next to your house in New York City, it's like the best thing in the world.
Now here's the problem though, right? If I drive, say, to Wildwood with it, that's fine. That's totally awesome, right? But if I drive, say, to, I don't know, somewhere like on the other side of Queens where it's sort of far away from the subway, or, I want to go and like...
You got to park it somewhere?
Well, no, for example, right, if I wanted to drive to like Target to buy like an appliance that was big and I couldn't carry it on the subway, right? So I want to bring the car with me, parking anywhere else sucks big time.
Hey, I used to work in the Bronx.
And you usually have to pay money.
I'm well aware. More than once, I would drive to like a work site. And then an hour later, I'd call back and be like, I spent an hour. There's nowhere to park within like an hour's walk. I'm just coming back to the office.
Yeah. So here, let's see. Here's some other little bit before we go. Here's some
because I'm sure people are really fascinated with all this.
Yeah, okay. So here's some moving tidbits. Number one, a tension rod really works kind of well in the bedroom. Didn't work so well. I didn't get a second one, which I'm glad because they didn't have one wide enough for the living room. So
just get two and duct tape them together in the middle.
They actually had a thing that lets you connect two tension rods together. It was like a special bit. The special bit needs to be screwed into the wall. Pretty much there's no way to avoid screwing something into the wall.
Did you ever figure out what that metal was? Is it like a duct or what?
Can't tell what the hell it is. I'm basically going to find the super and ask him to help me out because I don't know what to do with that situation at all. But I don't know. It sucks. But, the tension rod's doing pretty nicely in the bedroom, so whatever. What else do I got here? Oh,
so the real question, Scott, is do the curtains match the handbag and the shoes?
Right, whatever. The people don't have to look at me naked anymore. That's what the answer is. I finally got like a hanging file cabinet, right, which I've always wanted. And so now I was able to sort all my papers into it instead of them being in sort of a pile in the closet. And one thing about this file cabinet, it's from IKEA, and it was really narrow. So I was like, I've never seen a hanging file so narrow. And so I went to Staples, and I bought they only had two sizes of hanging file, letter and legal. So I bought letter, right? And it wouldn't fit in the hanging file. Like, it just would not fit in there. And I'm like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to use this hanging file? It makes no sense. Apparently, the way this thing works is you have to take out the bottom of the drawer, like remove the bottom of the drawer, and then there are these two metal sticks that you slide in, and you actually hang the files sideways on the metal sticks, and they hang out the bottom of the drawer.
That sounds about right.
Nowhere in the instructions did it say that you had to do that. But that's exactly what you have to do. I found it online though. People are talking about it, and it's very nice. I bought a TV that's not here yet. I went to B&H, which is sort of like this big fancy like pro electronics store in behind Madison Square Garden. It's uber famous and such, and it's very Jewish. They're closed on Saturday and everything. And I just went to look at the TVs. And the people there, the TV salesmen, they weren't actually that knowledgeable, but they were, or helpful, but at least they didn't give a shit. So I was like, can I change the settings on the TV? They're like, yeah, whatever, do whatever you want. So I changed the settings on all the TVs to normal to figure out, whatever. And I pretty much decided, well, the TVs that look great are too expensive, so I'll just get a normal TV. But the thing is, so I look at the normal TV, it was $700, the Samsung I was looking at. I go on Amazon, it's $650. So I'm like, do you have a price guarantee? Do you have free delivery? And they didn't have a price guarantee, but they did have free delivery. And Amazon also had free delivery. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'll just buy it on Amazon here.
That's the way you go. I don't buy anything in the real world except, I don't know, food.
So the TV was $50 less. So it's coming, I guess.
Yeah, all my coworkers are buying TVs right now because they're all talking about the big rush as OLED becomes big. They're like, yeah, buy all the old LCDs for super cheap.
Well, here's the thing, right, is that they've got the LCDs, and then they've got the LED, right? And they're trying to trick people into thinking that LED is different from LCD, but really all it is the same TV with different lights behind it. And LED is better. It's going to be darker. It's going to be more in the black areas. It's going to be more evenly lit. It's going to use less energy. But they're charging ludicrous amounts of extra money for the LED backlit.
Well, yeah, you got to wait on something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I have an LED backlit monitors and LED backlit, laptop screens, and they were not ludicrously more money.
It partly depends on the size and the form factor and all sorts of stuff.
I guess, more bigger LEDs might be more money. It's true, but oh well.
Plus, it's a different market, different demographic. Like, everything's different with TVs than with monitors.
Yeah, I'm going to save any more talk about moving stuff for later. We don't want
11 minutes of this business.
Blow our whole load right away.
And what a load it is. I got this whole house to myself.
It's a total load.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet up here. It's weird. I felt like my day was a lot longer because I came home from work yesterday. I'm hanging around the house and I did all this stuff. No one came into my room and bothered me. And eventually I went to bed.
I thought that my day would feel a lot longer. And the thing is, right, number one, I'm actually not saving that much time because I'm sleeping an extra 90 minutes.
But you're getting 90 minutes more sleep.
I am, but I'm not getting more time to do stuff, which is what I really wanted. And number two is after work every day, I'm pretty much going around to Bed Bath & Beyond and other places to get house shit and sorting house stuff out. So I still don't really have any much extra time to do house, to start coding or working on projects yet.
Man, I love those days when I just stay in the city for some reason, so I get some hours to kill. I just wandering around the city, going just doing stupid stuff.
Yep. But soon
I'll be able
to do that. Very soon.
Anime. And all that.
Anime.
So I've actually got
is that what the show we're doing is?
I've actually got a Geekbyte here because, I keep saying
Oh, really? I also have a Geekbyte.
I keep saying there's no anime news, and then I think last time I said there's no anime news except the fact that there's no anime news. All I got to say is, Jesus Christ, nothing is happening in the anime industry anymore. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
I mean, there's new anime and stuff, and I'm actually watching a ton of anime lately on the train, but there's nothing interesting happening anymore. There's no news other than X show came out.
Yeah,
X
I
show
would have
didn't get
started
licensed.
watching the giant robo that you gave me, but I don't have any speakers on this computer now because I'm moving them over to the TV.
Don't waste giant robo.
I moved the old TV speakers into the bedroom, which is so awesome. Because I basically connected my iPod dock to the T-amp to those speakers in the bedroom. It's the alarm uses them, and I can put it's so great. It was the best move.
But you don't want to waste Giant Robo without a good sound system. Giant Robo, I watched the first episode again because I showed it to Judith and Natalie when they were visiting, and Emily'd never seen it. And Jesus Christ, is that show awesome? I almost forget until I watch it again, and it's all right, that show.
The first time we watched it, RIT was not so...
We were young. We didn't get it. I know exactly what I was thinking when we saw that Giant Robo. One, that was that era when we always left Anime Club early to go hang out somewhere, as a crew.
Only when the show was bad. Even
often when the show was good, we'd be let's go hang out. And we'd go do stuff. We'd play card games or board games or whatever.
Anyway.
But I think back then, I remember, I wasn't at the time in my life when I could appreciate a show like that. I was it's some stupid robot fighting show. Fuck this. Why does everyone have superpowers? That doesn't make any sense. Now it's I guess I'm just Hokuto no Ken fixed that. Everyone has superpowers in that show. But I'm watching, of all things, right now, and I said I was watching it before and then I stopped, and now I'm almost done with it. Tetsuan Birdy Decode, the remake of the original Tetsuan Birdy, a.k.a. Birdy.
So it's a remake. It's not a sequel?
It has. I mean, I've not seen more than one episode of the original Birdy the Mighty. It definitely feels like a complete remake.
So you can watch this show knowing nothing about Birdy
absolutely
the Mighty.
Nothing. The only thing you will not get are some clever homage to the original show.
Okay, so there's no story connection.
You find out on your own in the show.
Not like reading episode 174 of Spider-Man without reading 1 through 173.
Nope, it's basically just, oh shit, it's Birdy the Mighty, a.k.a. Birdy the Berserker Killer. And she punches some kid, and then he dies, and she has to like share the body and all that stuff. And you know what? Yeah. I like this show a lot more than I expected. I thought it'd be so dumb, but I watched the first episode with Emily, and it was just... It harkened back to a different era of anime. Like, I felt like it was 1996 again. In a good way. Like, it was a dumb show, but it wasn't dumb like dumb anime I watch now. It was dumb like dumb 90s anime. Like, it was just kind of like high-flying space comedy action and just... I don't know. There's a lot going on in this show.
Are you watching the show on Crunchyroll or somewhere else, or what?
I got a pirated copy I'm watching on the train, maybe.
Is it legally available?
I have no idea. At this point, I don't... Unless something's on Crunchyroll, if it came out after, like, 2007, I don't have any faith that there's any legal way to get it. I just don't even know what's on DVD anymore.
I think Claymore is coming out on DVD right now.
Huh? That was a show that was good enough to finish, I think.
I don't know. It's good enough to at least continue watching before I left off. The thing is, I actually, that's one of those ones where it's like, should I go and finish watching that anime?
No, if there's any show,
go and find that manga.
If there's any show that we have we started watching it and we stopped for no reason other than we stopped, we got to watch the rest of Ergo Proxy, because that was a show.
That was the show that I was coming into my mind just as you were talking about stopping watching a show for no reason.
Because we didn't stop for any reason. In fact, the show was just getting to the point where we're like, oh shit, this might be a good show.
The one thing about the Ergo Proxy, though, is I know what Daryl Surratt said about the leader parts and such. But the thing is, the show started with that cool cyberpunk city, and then it switched to the sort of outside the city business.
But then we was just getting back into the city.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I liked I wish it was the cyberpunk stuff the whole time. It would have been much closer to a Ghost Shell kind of thing then.
I think the weird thing about the show is that with the aesthetic and like the first couple episodes, it looked really kind of, I hate to use the word pretentious, but it seemed like this pretentious garbage. And then suddenly it's like, oh wait, it's not doing that. It's using And then it went outside. It's like, oh, it's doing something different entirely. And then having not seen the rest, but having listened to Daryl Surratt's review, everything he said tells me that it's a show I'll like.
Yeah, probably.
So we got to watch that and review it.
All right, so I'm going to actually do a geek bite on a comic book. You know what comic book it is?
Pax Romana?
No, that's what we're doing the whole show.
I know, but you could totally steal all of our thunder with that.
Steal my own thunder from myself. I stole $1 from my own wallet. Okay. No. The only comic that I really, since, I couldn't really bring my books with me yet because they are too heavy and such, I have to find some way to get them down here later, perhaps slowly and over time. I brought down, I'm trying to read everything that I've borrowed from anybody, because that way I can give them back and not have to move them. And also, hopefully people will give me back things I lent to them, and I'll get...
Speaking of which, you ever get Eagle back from the Comic Geek Speak guys?
No, we'll probably get it back at, the New York Comic Con.
All right, because I want it back. I want to lend it to someone.
Yeah, we could have gotten it back at, what's it called? If we went to their convention. The thing is...
yeah, I wanted to go to that.
Their convention is the same day as PAX East, so fail.
Nope, that can't happen.
Nope. So at the New York Comic Con, which I guess is the end of the year.
You own the vast majority of the comics and manga in the front row crew, like right here, though Lara has pretty much all the manga that you don't own.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I'm very happy that I am the owner of Sanctuary and Eagle. I feel like those two are worth... If it weren't for Urasawa, those two are worth more than, your entire collection. But Urasawa... Damn it.
Yeah. Scott's boxes are being delivered here now, by the way. So, very nice. Anyway, no, so I was, I want, if I'm moving, I want to get stuff sorted out between who I lent what and who lent what to me and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't get lost, in the moving process. So I started reading Alex's Alan Moore Swamp Thing volumes.
That was laying under the piano forever, and I kept forgetting whose it was.
Yeah,
I'd periodically be like, whose is this? And Alex is like, it's mine. I lent it to Scott.
Yeah, I've read 2 volumes so far, maybe 3. I don't even remember. It's pretty good. I mean, the first issue in the first volume it's sort of like Sandman in a way, in that, in the first volume of Sandman, it was like a little superhero-y, And the Swamp Thing, like the first issue, actually has like the Justice League in it. You know, they don't really do anything, but they're there. There they are, right? So it was a little bit superhero-y. And then it sort of gets away from that. And the thing is, some of the issues, it's, you know, had like this very heavy-handed environmental message. Like this one issue that's like nuclear bad. It's all about like this guy Nuke Face who's like horribly deformed from drinking like radioactive materials and toxic waste.
Well, maybe he shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, but it's, you know, this also has like people dumping toxic waste into the swamp, you know, and stuff. And it's like, you know, obviously that's bad, but like, you know, it's a very anti-nuclear power issue. And, you know, I think it would have worked a lot better if I didn't know that nuclear power was totally awesome. But, you know, and other parts of it, you know, are, you know, it's really interesting. Like, I didn't know, like, what Swamp Thing was. Like, I knew he was a green guy from the swamp, and that was pretty much it. But, like, knowing what Swamp Thing actually is, you know, and it actually, Swamp Thing was something different, and then Alan Moore changed what it was in this one issue that's, like, the lauded great issue. I think it's called, like, Anatomy Lesson. And it was actually, it's pretty fantastic. I mean, it's, you know, it's Alan Moore quality writing, you know, and the art is actually really great. The colors, actually, you think like the whole thing would be like black and green, but it's not. There's actually a whole ton of color like all over it, and it really like stands out. It's like the art is as good as the art on Fables right now.
So
even though this thing is wicked old.
On a scale
not wicked old, I mean, I think it's 80s old.
On a scale of, say, Watchmen to Batman Dark Knight Returns, where does it lie?
Below both of them, but it's, you know, it's still up there. I mean, it's I'd say it's probably Mouse Guard good.
I'll have to read it and then we can review it straight up.
Yeah, probably.
Although I'll recommend conversely at some point, it'd be worth your while to watch Birdy the Mighty, at least a couple episodes to see, because the show would be dumb except that all the action in it is very like old school anime action, but not old school, like old school 90s.
The old school.
There are so many schools now, it's crazy. Like some people old school is Star Blazers, and some people old school is like Giant Robo or Tetsuan Birdie. But Giant Robo is old school homage to an older school.
Incredibly old school. All right, anyway.
But anyway, moving this along, it's time for Things of the Day. So, according to FARC, anvil shooting is a grand American tradition, and it is literally...
So is this you shoot at anvils or you shoot anvils?
You shoot anvils at...
Like the anvils are the ammunition.
You shoot anvils at anvils with anvils.
Wait. You can't have 3 anvils in there.
So here's what you do. You take one anvil, you put it on the ground, upside down. You put gunpowder in the hole in the bottom of the anvil.
Why is there a hole in the anvil?
There's a hole on the bottom of an anvil.
Really?
That's like where you mount the anvil on something.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
There's like a big slot down there.
Yeah,
and then on top of that, you put another identical anvil.
Okay.
And then you blow it up, and that anvil goes higher. It's so high that you cannot see it. And it comes back down almost exactly where you shot it. Sometimes it'll hit the anvil from which you launched it.
And then you have to freaking run the hell away. So
oh my god, the video is basically he lights it, and you expect, you know, watching Mythbusters or all the kind of professional and semi-professional people doing stuff like this, I expected there to be like this long fuse or something electronic. He lights the fuse, it's sticking like an inch out of that anvil. Motherfucker runs, let me tell you.
Oh, so he did run far away.
No, he lights it, and it's like, light, run! And then
Wouldn't
the cameraman...
that be hilarious, though? Like, if a guy ran, like, let's say he ran, like, he just didn't stop running.
And the anvil got him anyway?
He lit it, and then he ran immediately as soon as it was lit and never stopped. And then the anvil happened to land on top of him, wherever he got to.
The image of that is kind of funny, but apparently
that's a Wile E. Coyote moment right there.
Apparently the anvils tend to fall almost exactly where they went up because, you know, wind's not pushing an anvil so much.
You know, it'd be badass, though, if you like, could calculate and be really precise with your anvil shooting.
And hit an anvil in the air with another anvil?
No, but that's an even better idea. But no, like if you knew the anvil was going to land exactly where it took off from.
Have another anvil shoot up just as that one lands?
No, you lit it and you just stood right next to it and it landed like right in front of you and you were just like, yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
I just stood right here. This anvil could have landed on my head, but it landed 1 foot in front of me, and I wasn't.
That's like the old physics thing where you take a bowling ball on a string hanging from the ceiling, and you hold it next to your nose, and you let go, and you just stand there.
Yep.
However, all that reminds me of is we were talking about electron microscopes in physics in like 10th grade, and I remember the professor, or the teacher, I guess it was high school, pointed out, you were talking about why electron microscopes work, that a far more accurate microscope would be a bowling ball microscope that just fired millions of bowling balls at near the speed of light at an object.
Too bad we can't fire the bowling balls at the speed of light.
Well, near the speed of light, not at the speed of light.
And the other problem is that the bowling balls will hit each other.
Yeah, electrons do the same thing. Electron microscopes, many kinds of them, basically destroy whatever they're looking at.
Oh, I know that. That's why you can't take pictures of like live things. They always die.
There's some cool techniques to take.
You usually kill them like when they're setting them up to go in the microscope.
There are some weird, cool techniques to take images of living things with electron microscopes.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know much more about it than that. Maybe a scientist in the show will chime in. But
all right, so my thing of the day is not the greatest thing of the day in the universe, but it is following a long tradition of Soviet things of the day.
Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end.
Yes. This is basically a bunch of anti-U.S. Soviet propaganda.
Oh, I love stuff like that.
Yeah. It's just a simple web page. It's got pictures of, fat cats with top hats being carried around by,
See, I think the reason I like so much Soviet propaganda is that, one, it uses this really cool style. Like the very stark...
There's a lot of different styles going on here, actually.
But two, the message, like the raw message, independently of the kind of reality of communism, is, the workers rising up and taking back what's theirs, the blood and sweat of the people.
Most of these images, I mean, there's a little bit of that, but most of these images are like, Americans, evil, bombs, Soviets, good, babies. Like here, one of these pictures, right, shows a loaf of bread. And then it shows like a combat knife, and the combat knife is chopping the loaf of bread, right? And each slice of bread is sort of falling off and turning into bombs. And I guess it's trying to say that the U.S., turns food into bombs.
We kind of did back then.
I know, right?
I mean, not that communism was great, but I can see the rest of the world having that image of us and not feeling too unjustified.
Here, I think the translation is humanitarian help to starving ones in American way.
You see, that's what really does it. The communist stuff like that, that's kind of funny and clever and well thought out. Yeah. I mean, look at the propaganda we drop over like Afghanistan. It's kind of sad. It's not really biting or satirical or anything.
Yep.
Oh well.
But yeah, these are funny and interesting.
So, holy shit, I read a comic.
Oh my God, he wrote a comic. You know why?
I did write a comic. No, I read a comic.
It had part of the word Rome in the title. That's why he read it.
Yeah, well, basically, I was like, Scott, we got to do an anime and a comic in the next 2 Wednesday shows to kind of get back on track. And I was like, you're not going to watch an anime in time for the next show, so give me a short comic to read. And Scott's like, I got one that's up your alley. It's got the word Rome in the title.
Yep. So I was like, well, this wasn't the, it's not the greatest comic ever in the history of the world, but I know that Rim will enjoy anything that involves Rome. But of course, it was not near. And what did you expect when you saw like the cover?
All right, when I saw the cover, I expected. My expectation was, one, this is a comic about what if the Roman Empire did not fall and continued forever just without falling. So now we're at like the year 1999 or 2000 or whatever, and there's just the Roman fucking Empire with modern stuff. And it was kind of that, but not really. Like it was
not really at all.
It kind of was in a way, but I was right in that the Roman Empire didn't fucking fall.
Well, anyway, the comic is written by Jonathan Hickman.
Yes.
He's the guy who wrote Nightly News, which is we did a show on that way back.
Yep,
and
the thing is,
wrote what's it called?
Well, Scott told me, hey, by the way, it's by Jonathan Hickman, the Nightly News guy, and I'm like, yeah. And then I forgot about that, and I was reading it again. I didn't look at the cover. I'm like, this is. Then I look at the front. I'm like, duh, Jonathan Hickman, right?
Yep. What was the other one that he did? I can't believe I can't remember. He's working at Marvel now, actually, writing stuff like Fantastic Four and such, which is really interesting.
But at any rate, I want to point out, we're going to review this. We're not going to spoil it, other than we kind of have to describe the plot, which is a spoiler.
Transhuman. He wrote Transhuman, and he also did Red Mass for Mars. That's the other one. There was actually a reference to Red Mass for Mars at the end of Pax Romana. Did you notice that?
No, because I didn't read that yet.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, though, we're not going to spoil this, other than we have to spoil the premise, because otherwise you can't review a one-off comic.
Well, it's not really. I mean, it's a one-off in the sense that it's one trade paperback is the whole thing, but I think it's actually like 3 to 5 issues, 6 issues, something like that.
But it's a really short, contained story, and part of a spoiler is simply knowing what the story actually is, because it starts out kind of slightly different from where you'd expect it to start.
Well, it was also really interesting how they, at the end, they sort of rushed the end. Like, they didn't, it's like you have this big story, but they really only fleshed out certain short scenes in the story.
But at the same time, I like that, because one, it definitely pulled a little bit of an Ava. It's like, seriously, if you think that anything matters other than, like, the numbers of what happened, it's kind of like when you look at a lot of old comic books. The numbers, like by the numbers of what happened, like this war, then this, then this, then this. A description of the plot often seems really cool. But then you read the old comic and it's just, I punch you, you little guy, and all this bullshit you don't care about.
You need a new example of old comic books.
But that's the best example of old comic books. I hit you now, you little guy. Oh no, he is hitting me. But
this is a comic that doesn't really tell you a lot of. I mean, there's like human drama and stuff, but it only gives you like the high level details. It's like this huge, gigantic, Earth, universe spanning story, and you're just getting a bird's eye view of the whole thing. You're not getting a lot of details of this person said this. There's very little.
But I really, really like that as a result, because one, stories like this can almost fall into the trap of minutia, where, like, say you get to a point where person A is totally going to betray person B and then, like, do something, and it's coming. And then you've got to read, like, the next 40 pages of it actually happening, and kind of, you're, like, maybe interesting stuff happens, it might be portrayed well and whatever, but at the same time, there's this little part of you that's like, I know this is going to happen, I want to know what happens next.
Yeah,
especially
if you're the kind of person who doesn't like a cliffhanger, this is pretty great, because it just rushes you straight through, you from beginning to end.
Well, especially
but it doesn't disappoint, because at the very end, there is sort of a revelation. Oh, shit,
Yeah. Well, it's
there's also a mini revelation in like the early on, but that was sort of obvious.
Yeah. But there's so many good, but basically the premise, before we get any further, because obviously no one has read this, at least not many of you have probably read it, is that
I bet nobody.
In the far-ish future of the modern real world,
there's a Gene Pope.
The Gene Pope. Hey, all right, if you want no other reason to read this, there is a Gene Pope, a genetic pope, an amalgamation of 1,000 holy men. And he is kind of a prick, but also a badass. And if you can just stop listening right now and buy this if you think that sounds cool. But the story is basically that we've got, it's the far future. Catholicism not doing so well. Islam is spread all over the place, and, science basically made religion kind of stupid and obsolete and all that sort of stuff. But the Vatican had a secret science program to develop time travel. And it works. And it really works.
Holy shit, it actually worked. Like,
I love those scientists who were like,
couldn't do it, but
the scientists are like, yeah, we did it. Check it out. We sent a rat back in time a little bit. And then the Vatican's like, all right, let's do this. So they gather all these holy people and an army. And there's this whole buildup where they debate, like, where do they go back in time to ensure that Catholicism is stronger now than it is currently? Like, basically, they just want to make Rome not fall and make Christianity and Catholicism remain strong and powerful.
And it's the discussion they have of, like, even should they go back in time, to when, to do what, it's very interesting. Like, they're like, well, we cannot, absolutely not go back before the time of Jesus. That would not be allowed. It's
cool how every single character in this is smart, at least as smart as you, the reader. So the intellectual discussions and arguments they have, which it kind of does these cool asides where you get the, like, it'll like you'll see a scene and then it cuts to the following is the transcript recorded by such and such on such and such date. And
usually when you're reading a comic book and they break in with a bunch of text, it's sort of like, obviously, I don't have a problem reading a novel, but when you encounter that, there's something in your brain. It's like your brain doesn't like switching from like picture and text mode to pure text mode.
Look at how many people who otherwise understand comics just skip over all the words in Watchmen stupidly.
Right. So the thing is, in this book, like I actually didn't have that problem. Like when I got to the text parts, I just kept going. I didn't feel that thing. And even in Watchmen, I read the stuff anyway, but it's like I had to switch my brain. I didn't have to switch. There's something about the way he laid it out or the amount of text or something, maybe because it's still dialogue text like comics.
Yep, and also
being a solid block of prose.
I think on a raw level, the actual real arguments that these characters are having are the same kind of arguments we would have in the crew if such a thing were possible. Like they debate
they're very nerdy
points.
arguments, but that's, theological arguments usually are that way. But there are other arguments that are not theological in nature.
So basically, they decide to go back the best time to change everything to where Constantine is about to basically make Christianity the religion of Rome. And their goal is to kind of prevent the schism and create a society that will not fall and kind of fix Rome and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And of course, it all goes haywire, but not necessarily for the reasons you'd expect. It goes haywire a lot quicker than you would have expected.
Pretty much immediately. I like how Constantine, like the way they portray Constantine.
Oh, that was the best scene where
he knows what's up. He's not a moron.
Well, that's the thing when the main dude sneaks up on him and Constantine's all cool. And then he says something insightful to Constantine, like, da-da-da-da-da. And Constantine gives this really clever answer, and then the guy's like, shit, man, I thought you would be simple.
Yeah, like you thought the people in the olden times would just be like cavemen, but no. Like, even in the olden times, to be emperor like that, you got to be on the ball. Or crazy, or lucky.
Yep.
But Constantine was not the Nero type.
There's also this great scene where Constantine's like, all right, I've had enough with you. And he calls all these guards, like 4 big burly guards with weapons. And he's like, take this guy away and crucify him or something. I don't care.
I have a feeling I would be willing to bet a small amount of money that Jonathan Hickman was listening to 12 Byzantine Emperors. Because you see a lot of that stuff where it's like, yup, is he going to let the idiot son become king, or is he going to appoint the guy who actually could be good at being king?
That idiot son ruins everything, always.
There's also that stuff where it's like they know what the original history was going to be, so they're sort of trying to figure out, like, well, we know that this person was a traitorous asshole. What should we do about them? Should we kill them? Should we, sort of wait for them to make their move?
Plus, I mean, knowing that, like, the barbarian invasions will come and, like, forcing Rome to consolidate the borders and defend them better early on, like, hundreds of years before that, like, cool stuff like that. But the guards, like, are gonna, take this guy away and kill him or something. And then the main character's like, are these your best men? And Constantine's like, yes. And he just shoots them all. And Constantine's look on his face is like, what? What the? All right.
Yeah, that's one thing, is that even if you don't appreciate like the more cerebral aspects of this book, or the historical aspects, or anything, or the graphic design aspects, which I haven't even talked about yet, you can appreciate this book on a totally shallow level of, dude brings freaking Humvees and machine guns back to Constantine's time and shoots them up.
There's a great line where the Emperor...
dragons versus tanks.
That's what Scott Johnson has always wanted. But the Emperor says something to the effect of, you took on an army of 100,000 elite Romans and suffered 3 casualties of your 150 men. Yeah, they're like, yeah, my truck flipped over and we lost some guys.
It was an accident. It wasn't like they got killed.
But... there is a 2-page spread of modern military descending upon 2 Roman armies locked in battle.
That's the best spread in the whole book.
That is like, you turn the page to that and you're just in awe of it.
You're just like, fuck yeah, that's what I was reading this for, fuck yeah.
So the graphic design, because you mentioned it, is really surreal and all over the place. And it's really sparse and yet detailed. Like, the characters are really detailed and usually black and white or black and white-ish. And then the backgrounds are kind of like orange to black and almost no other color, and lots of weird text popping up everywhere. And the backgrounds are almost non-existent.
News, only I think he crammed in less tiny words all over the place. You know, that's the thing. Jonathan Hickman actually comes from like a graphic design background. You know, like he doesn't come from like a comic art background. So, you know, when he does like books for Marvel or whatever, he sort of writes, you know, a Fantastic Four story and someone else draws it. But when these books from Image that he did all on his own, you know, like Nightly News and Pax Romana and, you know, I think Transhuman, I think someone else might have done some art in Transhuman. I don't remember. Or Red Mass for Mars. I'm not sure who did the art on that either. But, you know, he basically he graphic designs the thing as opposed to, you know, doing comic art. And it actually makes this really, really interesting effect of, you know, like there's panels, but there's not really panels. And there's words all over the place, but you still know what order to read them in.
Yep.
And he's got all sorts of like recurring symbols and colors that have meaning. And, you know, he basically just, he treats the page, you know, like he throws out all the rules of making comics, but he still obeys them, you know.
Plus, all the characters are unique. I like the character design, and I like the characters because again, no one's
eye patch dude.
Just no one is that stupid guy. Like in almost any media, there's like the one stupid guy.
The dude who gets it on with the.
Yeah, but he wasn't that stupid guy who like. You know he's going to fuck it all up, and then he fucks it all up, and then, like, it's not fun to read whatever you're reading anymore.
That's true.
Yeah, there are too many works where, like, the stupid guy makes it not fun to read.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know, especially, like, if you've seen, like, say there's a movie or a sitcom before, you've seen it, and you know there's a point at which, like, the whole thing falls apart, and you almost, like, cringe at the fact that you're going to have to watch that again. Like, I'm going to have to watch this guy fail. And no one is like that in Pax Romana. Everyone's kind of cool and badass in their own way. Even those mercenary assholes.
Yeah, even the mercenaries, even the religious folk. You know, I guess the one character I have a question about is, you know, the current king, the little kid king.
I kind of like him though, because he's kind of a snarky little kid.
Yeah, but I wonder what, like, you know, it's like, is he really smart? Does he get it, or is he just, you know, a little kid? I think he portrayed him as more as just a little kid and not actually a kid who could actually do a good job of kinging. You know,
Doesn't
like
matter.
King Arthur, they portray him as like he could actually king it up, but this kid, no way.
Things that I can't really spoil, but I don't know what else we can say without spoiling. I mean, it's a great comic. I'd recommend reading it. It's, you know, it's one, just buy it. You can just read it in like.
If you like a 12 Byzantine Emperors, if you like a Nightly News, if you like any other Jonathan
If you like
stuff,
the idea of, so they brought some nukes back with them, right? If you like
nukes versus Romans.
If you like the idea of, imagine if nukes are like the Romans had nukes from the future, and then all the people who brought them long, long later had all died of old age. And they were like this ancient, mysterious technology. And then like 500 years later, someone uses that ancient and mysterious technology from the future.
Wow. It makes you, that's sort of like, what if aliens came right now and brought us like, I don't know, like fusion blasters or something.
Or what if, you know, a precursor society.
But they didn't let us use them. They just sort of held them there. And then like 1,000 years from now, like Indiana Jones 3010 dug them up.
Yeah, well, you know, like, the analogy would be like, what if the pyramids in Giza, you know, in Egypt, were actually some crazy machine and we just couldn't figure it out. And one day we're like, oh, shit.
Yep. Too bad they're just a pile of rocks.
Yeah, built with a spiral pattern in the middle.
Perhaps.
But Pax Romana is fun. I very much enjoyed it for a quick read. And I don't know what else I can say.
How much is it?
I don't know. Like, it can't be more than like $10 or $15.
I'll put an Amazon link up. So
yeah, put up an Amazon link. It's worth buying.
And that'll be that.
Yeah, I mean, I like bananas, but I need popsicles.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right, I think we'll turn it off there. This is the Geeknights will be weird and crazy for a while until we get situated. So I'll probably make the audio quality of the Skype in a little better next time we do this. And before we go, we should do the meta moment really briefly because we forgot to do it.
About the meta moment.
I said, all right, let's not forget to do the meta moment. And Scott's like, yes, we will do the meta moment. And then we did things of the day, and then we didn't do it.
All right, so meta moment. Let's see. Number 1, episodes may or may not come out regularly while we are moving.
We're going to do whatever 2 episodes per week we are feeling. It'll be kind of all over the place.
Yep. What else is a meta moment? Person who won the ad contest. I will deliver to you the prizes once, the books are currently in Beacon, and it's going to be, a little bit before I am able to mail them to you, but it should be early next month. And anything else?
I just want to point out, because it is Wednesday, we, a while ago, but we're going to announce it here too, we have officially opened panel submissions for Connecticon 2010, because in case you don't recall, we are the heads of panels for Connecticon 2010. It's us. Mm-hmm. The buck stops with us. If you think you can do an awesome panel, submit a panel, and maybe we'll let you do it. Mm-hmm. We can never again, ever complain about the panels at Connecticon, because there is no one to complain to but ourselves.
Or, maybe someone up above us.
There's only one person above us, maybe 2. There's programming and then the con chair.
Yeah, even so. Trying to think. I had some other meta moment, but I forgot it, so oh well.
Maybe you need the Metamucil.
Maybe I should go get some.
All right.
You know what, though? All the places around here, they're still open, and I could just walk down there and get whatever I need in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I could take your car and I guess drive like to Fishkill to get something if I needed it.
Not in a couple hours.
Nah, I could go to the ShopRite. It's open till like 1.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I've been over there late before.
Anyway.
It's not 24/7. I can't. I guess I could, if I drove 45 minutes, there's a Stop and Shop that's open 24/7.
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, if I drove all the way up, like through Wappingers and everything.
Oh, well. So, we're done here, I think.
Yep, I'll hit stop.
Okay.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Odeo. Just click the link that says Send Me an Odeo on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.